What is going on, online fitness coaches? Welcome to another episode of the Change Lives, Make Money Online Training Podcast. This is the #1 show for online fitness coaches who are trying to grow successful online business. In today's episode, we're talking about dream killers. We're talking about people that take you further away from your goals, dreams, and ambitions. All right. So before we get into today's episode, I just want to remind you guys that I'm giving away $1,000 cash. All right. So if you want to be entered to win $1,000 cash, this counts on Clubhouse too. All you need to do is screenshot any episode that you're listening to, share it to your Instagram stories, tag me at BMarkFit, let me know that you're tuning in, and you're automatically entered to win $1,000 cash. That's literally all you need to do. Screenshot, share, and tag. And I lost my camera, and you're automatically entered to win $1,000 cash. So guys, today we're talking about dream killers. All right. We're talking about dream killers. And I think it's important that we talk about dream killers because there's a lot of us that have people in our lives that take us further away from our goals. There's a lot of us that have people in our lives that take us further away from our ambitions. There's a lot of us that have people in our lives that just don't believe in us accomplishing our dreams. Out of curiosity, how many of you guys have ever had somebody that has told you that you can't do something? How many of you guys have ever had somebody that's told you that you can't do something? How many of you guys have ever had one of your parents literally say to you that like online coaching isn't feasible, it's not possible, you should get a real career, you should go back to school, you should get a high-paying job? How many of you guys have had one of your friends or maybe even your significant other tell you that online coaching isn't a real career, that it's not possible, that, you know, these internet influencers are scam artists? How many of you guys have had this? How many of you guys have had negative family members or friends in your life that literally refuse to make any changes? How many of you guys know somebody that fits any of the above criteria? Now, I call these dream killers. Now, guys, in life, whether or not we'd like to admit it, we are results of the people that we surround ourselves with. And so the people that we surround ourselves with, their character rubs off on us. They have an influence over us because whether or not we'd like to admit it, like we're just not an island. I think that as people, we have this like belief that like we're this island and that, you know, like what we believe is what we believe, but that's just not true. Because the people around you also have a certain set of beliefs and behaviors and a perception of the world. And if you're in a conversation with somebody and they share their opinion with you on something, like that opinion that they give you is going to affect the way that you perceive things. So we are results of our environment, and the people that we surround ourselves with have an influence over us based on the things that they're saying. So we call these the dream killers. Now, guys, in my own life, like in the last 7 years, I grew my fitness business from 0 to 10,000 to 20,000 to 30,000 to $55,000 a month. And then I folded that fitness business, and now I've coached online personal trainers for the last 2.5 years, worked with over 1,000 online coaches in the last 2.5 years. 132 of them are over $10,000 a month. So in my own life, you guys, I know, like, I've been like on the journey. Like I've been at rock bottom. I've also like climbed to the top of the mountain. And for me to really start this transformation, to start the process of becoming like the Brian Mark that you guys see today, it started out with cutting out my family and my friends. Because at 21, 22 years old, I just wasn't fucking happy. Like I was not happy with my life. I was partying all the time. I was working at a job that I didn't like. My friends were partying all the time. Everybody in my life was just kind of doing the same thing. Everybody was doing the same thing. Everybody was partying. Everybody was drinking. It was like at 21, 22 years old, I just wasn't happy. I wasn't doing something that I was excited about. I wasn't doing something that got me like out of bed in the morning. And so it started out like when I was a drug addict at 21, 22 years old, and I wanted to grow, the first like decision that I made was to cut myself off from everybody in my life. Cut myself off from everybody. I cut myself off from my friends. I cut myself off from my family. I cut myself off from everybody. And I just went to work on myself. And I went solo. And I don't know how many of you guys have ever heard the Les Brown quote, but Les Brown basically talks about how birds of a feather flock together. He said, if you want to, hang out with pigeons, you can go outside and see a bunch of pigeons. But if you want to fly with eagles, like it's going to take you a while to find some eagles. And for me, when I was 21, 22, like, yes, I wanted to be surrounded with high level people, but like, because I was a result of my environment, I was a low level person. I was partying, I was drinking, I wasn't taking my goals seriously. And so if I wanted to be surrounded with people that were motivated and inspiring and people that were going after their goals, then I had to become that person first. Like, I wanted to find eagles, but I had to become an eagle myself. And so I had to cut everyone off. I had to stop partying. I had to stop drinking. I had to stop calling the people that I would call to hang out on the weekends. I had to hang out with just me, my goals, my ambitions. And like, I literally, you guys, when I cut myself off, I spent 3 months working on my vision and working on my fitness goals. And that's it. And it was just me and myself. And it was lonely as shit. But I needed to cut myself off from the partiers and the drinkers because they were half of the reason that my dream was dead. I was half of the reason, but so were they. And if I was surrounding myself with people that were partying and drinking, then there was no way that I was ever going to get to that next level. And so for me, I had to cut off my family. I had to cut off my friends. And I was willing, guys, this is the key. I was willing to lose everything and everyone because I wasn't happy in my life. I was willing to risk it all. I was like, I'm going to hang out by my fucking self because like, I'm not happy with the person that I'm being right now. I'm not happy with my behaviors. I'm not happy with my habits. Like, I'm lying to myself. I'm deluding myself into thinking that I'm happy by partying and drinking all the time. So I cut myself off from everybody that was doing that. Everyone. And guys, here's the hard part, right? The hard part is that when you're in a situation and you're surrounded by somebody that's negative, maybe it's your friend, your family member, your coworker, somebody that's in your life that is like always negative and is never working on themselves. We all have that one person. It's almost like you feel a sense of responsibility to stay connected to the people that you love. Who here feels that? So it's like your mom, that's the one that's always telling you you're not going to do it. It's not possible, but she's your mom. And so you feel a sense of responsibility to stay connected and like to have a deep rooted relationship with that person, even though they're the person that's saying like, it's not possible. You're not going to do it. There's no way you're going to make it. Right. But the truth is, too often, you guys, we keep people around us that we know are bad for us, right? Toxic people, negative people, right? We're keeping these people around us because we feel a sense of responsibility to them. But in reality, we should be completely distancing ourselves from them because they're part of the reason that we're not successful. Like accomplishing your goals, you guys, like going after your goals, dreams, and ambitions. And for those of you guys that want to be successful full-time online fitness coaches, I'm talking to you. Like becoming an online fitness coach is hard enough by itself, right? It's hard enough by itself. And so if you're trying to work at, building your dream business online, you're trying to become a successful online coach, which is hard enough on its own. And you're also working against resistance from your environment. Like your mom's telling you that you're swearing too much in your social media posts, or your dad's telling you to go get a real job because online coaching isn't a career. Like that's fucking hard enough on its own. So like guys, in my life, I've had to make some very hard decisions. And when I make a hard decision, I don't make it slowly. I make it abruptly. And because I'm intuitive enough to know when somebody is trying to destroy my dream. And all of us are. All of us know when somebody's trying to destroy our dream. And the hard part about when people are trying to destroy your dream is they're not actually doing it on purpose. They're not. Like your mom isn't trying to destroy your dream on purpose. She's not saying these things to you because she hates you. She's saying these things to you because she loves you. And your mom is saying, get a real job and you're swearing too much on Facebook because in her perception of reality, that is how she was told to behave. And so that's the way that she believes is right. But just because it's right for somebody else doesn't make it right for you. And I think at some point you need to realize that like your dream isn't going to fucking please everybody. Like going after your goals, like you're not supposed to please everybody. You're just like, it should piss some people off because if you're always if you're always good, you're always in agreement with everybody else around you, like you're not fucking speaking up because you have a difference of opinion. There's always going to be like a difference of opinion, even with my best friend, like my best friend Cole, like there are times that we disagree. And if we always agreed, that's just not how this shit works. And so you have to understand that like as you're going after your dream of being a full-time online fitness coach, you're going to have dream killers in your life. Some of those dream killers are going to be people that are close to you. And sometimes you're going to have a difference of opinion with your mom, your brother, your sister, and like you need to understand that like you can't let their opinion into your reality. I remember one of my dream killers was when I was working at Aesthetic Nation, which for those of you guys that don't know the full story, Aesthetic Nation was my fitness coaching business before I started working as a business coach for online trainers. And I had this trainer that worked for me. And this trainer that was on my team was super resistant to my coaching and feedback. Like I would tell this person to do something and they would almost do the opposite. Like I would say, like, you got to book calls with your potential leads, and they would text them and try to sell them. I did everything I could to help this person, supported them financially, but this person was always resistant to my feedback. And this person was resistant to my feedback in front of everybody that worked for my business. And at the time, like, it was so hard for me because there was like Aesthetic Nation was like a tight knit group of close friends at first. And I didn't really know how to run a business. Like I was just like coaching my homies, and me and my homies were like working with, all these fitness clients, but they wanted to grow their business, and I'd give this person advice, and then they wouldn't take it. And guys, like, one thing I learned about this experience is that one drop of, I've seen this quote on the internet as well, one drop of black paint can stain a glass of clear water. And what that means is that if you've got one negative person in your life, or you've got one negative person in your business, that can ruin the culture of your entire business. And that's the same reason, like, if you're in the 10K Coaching Academy, one thing you'll notice is like the vibe of our group is extremely high. Like the vibe of our community is extremely high because we protect the vibe. And if somebody comes in and they mess with our vibe, and somebody comes in and they plagiarize another person, or somebody comes in and they talk negatively about another person, like, we cut that immediately, because one drop of black paint can stain a glass of clear water. And so I remember I had this person in my business, and I was really close to them, in like a personal relationship. And I was on a vacation, and I was like going for a walk on the beach, and my intuition finally kicked in and was like, this person's ruining your business. This person's ruining your business, and you're letting it fucking happen. And you've been letting it happen for the last few months. And as soon as I like had that moment, I was like, holy fuck, like, I can't believe I've been letting this fucking happen. I texted this person and I fired them immediately. And it was like after a year and a half in business with this person, I texted them and I let them go. And it was like hard. And I dealt with a lot of resistance, and I dealt with a lot of backlash, and I dealt with a lot of negative feedback. But guess what? Like, my dream isn't supposed to fucking please you. My dream isn't supposed to please everybody. And I know what my purpose is. Like, I've always known, I don't know how many of you guys can relate to this, but I've always known that, like, I was meant to do something bigger. Like, I was meant to have a bigger impact on the world. I was meant to inspire a lot of people. Like, I was meant to have a bigger voice. I was meant to serve like a large amount of people. And for me, like, I knew that having this person in my life was causing me not to be able to serve, because I was already working hard at serving people. I was already working hard at helping people. And having a person in my life that was unwilling to grow was causing me to feel resistance every single fucking day, because it was like I was growing, and then I literally would have to drag this person into taking action. I'm like, fuck, come with me. And how many of you guys have felt that before? We're like, you're trying to make progress on your own goals. You've got a negative friend or negative family member or a negative person in your life or a negative spouse, and you're literally trying to drag them with you. You're like, come on, like, let's live a better life together. Like, let's chase our goals. Let's go after the things that we want. And this person's like, no, it's hard. It's super hard. Like, life is hard. And they're just complaining and they're whining. And it's like, yo, like, you've got to let those fucking people go. And the thing is, like, we're all intuitive enough to know who these people are, because as I'm talking about this, I guarantee you guys are thinking about somebody. I guarantee you, if I ask you who's somebody that has held you back or is holding you back, you can think of that person right now in your mind. And that's called gut instinct. That's called gut instinct. I'm talking about that one toxic person that you know could destroy your dream, but you're talking to them on a regular basis. And our gut instinct, you guys, is so important. And that's that gut instinct that I've trusted my whole life. Like, as soon as I realize, like, sometimes it's hard, right? Because, like, maybe this podcast is the one that wakes you up. But sometimes we can walk around sleeping, right? Like we're like going after our goals and we're just kind of like fucking sleeping. And we're not aware that like it's actually our best friend. That's one of the reasons that we're not successful. Because every single day our best friend's like, have you gotten a real job yet? Like still haven't made any money from your online coaching. Like just fucking talking shit. And like, that's the reason we're not successful, because every single day we hear that. And so we start to believe that, and that starts to become a reality, right? Energy drainers, energy vampires, dream killers. And the only reason they're dream killers is because they don't understand. Like they don't get it. They're operating from a limited perception of reality. This is the same, like when I was growing my fitness coaching business in Calgary, guys, like Aesthetic Nation, my coaching business went from $0 to $10,000 to $50,000 a month in like 2.5 years. And you better believe that's why people fucking hated me in Calgary, because like I went like from 0 to 100 and they were still stuck in the same place. And for them to look at me and see that like I had been successful, and like instead of being like, how did he do it? They're like, oh, he must be cheating people. It must be like a lie. It's like, no, it's the fucking 5 times a week I post on Facebook and Instagram. It's the 5 lives that I do every single week. It's the podcast. It's the value. It's the inspiration. But the dream killers can't see that shit. They don't see what goes on behind the scenes. They don't see how hard you work. And so they're just trying to bring you back down to their fucking level. Dream killers. Guys, when you have that gut instinct, like if you want to be successful, you have to listen to that gut instinct. You have to tune into that gut instinct. And you have to remember that like you're feeling these feelings for a reason. If there's somebody in your life that's holding you back from being successful and you're choosing to have them in your life, it's actually your fault, because you're not making the decision to be like to remove them so that you could move faster. And the hard part is that like this is the thing. So all of us have this gut instinct, right? I call this like the gut instinct of like the people that are trying to kill our dreams. All of us know like when we have those people that are in our life that are trying to like drag us down. Now, when we get that gut instinct, here's how I operate. When I feel like somebody is destroying my dream, or I feel like somebody is trying to take me away from my purpose, or I feel like somebody's holding me back. Step number 1 for me, and this should be the first step for you guys as well, is if you realize that somebody's holding you back from your dreams, then I think it's time that we had a conversation with them. Like actually sit them down and be like, hey, listen, mom, like I need to communicate something to you, because like this online coaching thing, I know that it's like different. And I know that it's like, it's something you haven't seen before, but I'm 100% certain I could be successful at this thing. And I know that it's different from like what you guys had when you were younger, and I can respect that and I can appreciate it. But I'm asking you not to believe in that. I'm asking you to believe in me. And I'm asking you to know that like, even if I fail, I'm going to fail forward and I'm going to learn something from this. But like, I need you to have my back and I need you to support me, because this is fucking important to me. And this is everything to me. And I need you on my team. See, that's the first step with dream killers. It's like communicating to them how important your dream actually is, especially when it's a friend or a family member, right? So whenever I get this gut instinct and I'm like, man, this person's like seriously fucking with my dream right now, like I will sit down and I'll have a conversation with them. And I'm like, listen, like I need you to know how important this is to me. And I need you to like have my back on this. And I'll have that conversation. But sometimes it works. Right? Sometimes when you have that conversation with a friend or a family member or a coworker, it works and they jump on board and they support you in your dream. But sometimes, and honestly, that's the optimal scenario, right? That's what we'd want. But the truth is that sometimes you'll communicate how important your dream is to you to somebody that's really close to you, and they're so stuck in their negative, toxic ways that they're not capable of supporting you in your dream. They're not capable of believing that you're going to be successful at this online coaching thing. They're not capable of seeing your potential or seeing what's possible. And so they're not going to support your dream. They're not going to see it. They're not going to believe it. And then it's up to you to make the decision to cut them out. And like, when I say cut them out, that sounds savage, and it's because it is. And it doesn't mean forever. It doesn't mean you never talk to them again, but it does mean for sure. It does mean you should actually cut them out. Stop talking to them as much. If you're talking to them 3 times a week, talk to them once a month. Like, I'm dead serious, you guys. And like that for me, this is what's worked really well for me, is isolating myself from people that don't support my goals, dreams, and ambitions, isolating myself and protecting my goals, dreams, and ambitions, and then working on them with so much fucking intensity that I attract people that are on the same wavelength as me. And that's what we have inside of the 10K Coaching Academy. It's funny. I remember one of my clients, I don't know if she's here right now. Her name's Pam. She joined one of my Clubhouse rooms, and she was like, yo, can I ask you a question? I was like, yeah, of course. She's like, everybody that's speaking in this Clubhouse room has so much passion and energy and fire. She's like, where do they get it from? And I knew where they got it from, but I didn't want to say it. My clients started speaking up. The 10K Coaching Academy, the 10K Coaching Academy, the 10K Coaching Academy, the 10K Coaching Academy. Because the 10K Coaching Academy is where we believe in our students. The 10K Coaching Academy is where we support our students' goals, dreams, and ambitions. The 10K Coaching Academy is where we're like, yo, you can fucking do this. Like, we believe in you. We support you. We've got your back. We've got you. Like, guys, it's hard enough to accomplish your goals, dreams, and ambitions. Never mind having to fight your friends, your family members, your coworkers, your environment as well. Like, it's already hard. Like, posting consistently, getting on calls, DMs, like, that's already hard. You shouldn't also be fighting the hard of resisting your environment and trying to stay positive in a super negative situation. You're basically making the decision to swim upstream. We're just swimming upstream. If you got people around you that are trying to hold you back, you're constantly swimming upstream, and then they're fucking pulling you back a little bit, and then you're swimming forward, and then they're pulling you back a little bit, and then you're swimming forward, pulling you back a little bit. You've got to cut them out. And like, I'm going to be so transparent with you guys in this podcast, because that's like, I'm going to be transparent without being a victim. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. And more recently, I had to cut out one of my best friends. I did. And I did everything I fucking could to help my best friend. Everything I possibly could, over and above for years. And honestly, I was starting to resent him more and more every single day. Every single day I was resenting him more and more. Because when you're building your dream and you're surrounding yourself with people who are refusing to change, you're choosing to be surrounded by negative energy. And like, as somebody that's so committed to serving the 10K Coaching Academy, as somebody that's so committed to providing a house for my grandmother, as somebody that's so committed to being the best version of myself, it broke my fucking heart that there was somebody that was that close to me that wasn't willing to change. And the truth is, like, guys, and I want to be honest with you guys, like, I understand that like life is hard. And I understand that like we all go through things. And I understand that like sometimes we need a friend, we need somebody to help us up. And I get that. But when somebody around you is making the decision to live negatively every single day, for me, eventually it got old. And I feel like this is the truth in my life, is like, you can go through a hard time, you can be depressed, you can struggle emotionally. Like, I get that, but eventually you need to wake up and you need to make a change. Eventually you need to wake up and you need to make progress in the right direction. Eventually you need to try to become a better person. At least that's how I view it. And for me, if somebody's choosing to make the decision to stay negative, if somebody's choosing to make the decision to stay stuck and not work on themselves, then I have made the decision that I won't allow them in my life. And here's why. Because yes, it was hard to cut out somebody that was like literally like my best friend. And yes, I cried. And yes, it wasn't easy. But my dream is so important to me that I'll do anything in my power to fight for it and keep it alive. And I'll tell you why. Because at the end of the day, I'm going out of this life by myself. Like, I'm going to die by myself. Nobody's coming with me. At the end of your life, nobody's coming with you. It's you versus you. That's it. It's like you're going out by yourself. And so for me, when I go out and I look back on my life and I ask myself the question, if I actually played at full speed, if I actually went all in, if I actually gave everything that I fucking could, if I actually played, like if I actually went all fucking in, and the answer is no, because I had somebody in my life that I was dragging the entire fucking time, then I'm not going to be happy with myself. Like, I only get one fucking shot. I only get one life. And so I've made the decision that I'm going to be playing full fucking speed toward all of my crazy goals, dreams, and ambitions, including being a full-time online fitness coach, including mentoring thousands of online fitness coaches, including being the next Gary Vaynerchuk, including being the best fucking possible version of myself. I've made the decision that that's the only option for me. That's the only outcome. And so the only people that I'm going to surround myself with are people that are on that same wavelength. And that's just a decision that I made. How about you? How about you? Have you allowed your significant other, your spouse, your wife, or your husband to hold you back from being an online coach? Because they think it's not a real career. And so you're like, okay, honey, it's not. And so you stay working at this 9 to 5 that you don't actually fucking like because they said that it's not a real career. Have you listened to the opinions of your parents? And as a result, you haven't pursued that dream of coaching people with Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and being able to work from your laptop because your parents said it's not a fucking reality? Have you allowed negative people in your life to tell you that online coaching isn't actually a career? And so you put it on the back burner for 2, 3, 6 months, a year, 2 years, even though you really want to do it. But because other people say it's not a career, you haven't pursued it because you don't want to look stupid. Are you allowing dream killers in your life? What if you keep allowing dream killers in your life? What if you stay in the same place for the next 5 years and nothing changes? What if you keep that person around because you feel obligated, you feel responsible for that person, and then in the process, you sacrifice all the things that you want? What if you stay at the same job, making the same money, talking to the same people, and have the same quality of life in the next 5 years? Are you going to be happy? And for some of you guys, when you're listening to that question, the answer is yes. And like, there are some of you guys that are living the life of your dreams already, and you're on the trajectory, and you're like working towards being a full-time online fitness coach, and that's what you fucking want. And if that's you, like, I just want to commend you because that's amazing. But for those of you that aren't on the right path, like, what are you waiting for? Do you think that there's going to be some sort of magical moment when you wake up and all of a sudden it's easy to make your dreams come to life? The only moments that are magic in life are the ones that we decide are magic. Like surrounding yourself with people that believe in going after your goals, dreams, and ambitions. Surrounding yourself with people that believe that it's possible. Surround yourself with people who encourage you, who support you, who motivate you, instead of surrounding yourself with people that are constantly trying to drag you down. You guys get what I'm saying here? And in the words of Les Brown, like, yo, if you want to fly with pigeons, if you want to hang with pigeons, go outside. You can find a bunch of them. Birds of a feather flock together. But if you want to be an anomaly, like if you want to stand out from the crowd, if you want to be different, you can't act like everybody else. You can't take the opinions of your parents unless you want to act like them. You can't take on the opinions of your friends unless you want to become like them. Don't take advice from somebody you wouldn't trade places with. If you want to fly with eagles, it's a lot harder to find eagles, and it might take some more time, and you might have to do this thing all on your fucking own or just with a mentor. Or you might have to join the 10K Coaching Academy, just saying. But seriously, don't surround yourself with people because you're lonely and then in the process kill your dreams. That doesn't make sense to me. I would rather fly solo. I would rather be by myself if that meant that I was going after that thing that I wanted with every ounce of my fucking soul. How about you? Beware of the dream killers. They're everywhere, all right? That's it. That's all. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is the Change Lives Make Money Online Training Podcast, the #1 show for online fitness coaches who are trying to grow successful online business. If you got value from today's episode, I just want to remind you that I'm giving away $1,000 cash in the month of June. Dun, dun, dun. So all you need to do to enter right now, screenshot this podcast episode, share it to your Instagram stories, tag me at BMarkFit, let me know that you're tuning in, and you're automatically entered to win $1,000 cash. That's it. That's all. I hope you guys have the best day of your entire life, and we'll talk to you soon. Let's go.